So I'm standing in the little backyard pool that my parents have bought me as a present for graduating kindergarten. And my next door neighbor, Randy, who's on his way to college, is positioned right across from me on the grass. And we're having a Mexican standoff. And our weapons of choice are 2 inflatable dolphins. Now I constantly pick fights with Randy because I am in love with Randy. And he is tall enough to jump that chain link fence that separates our yards. He's finishing college, and when he finishes, he's going to be a chemical engineer. And I know that my greatest accomplishment thus far at 5 is just a certificate for learning how to tie shoes, but you know what? Opposites attract. So I get in like a good couple of body hits with my dolphin, but then he counters with like a right cross dolphin to my face, and he knocks me over into the pool. And I sink to the bottom. And I can see all those little air bubbles that are escaping to the top. And I think, wow, I feel so calm. I don't even know how to swim. But I can see clear up to the sky. And even those little clouds are starting to look more and more like my friends, you know? Like, oh, there's Winnie the Pooh. Oh my God, that's Cherry from Pee-wee's Playhouse. But before I can start planning our wedding, he's hovering over me and he sticks his arm down, grabs my wrist, and pulls me up. And let me tell you something. Sinking was fun. Coming up for air to choke and to watch Randy go away to college, not fun. Oh, Pupschen, my mother tells me in her Euro accent. It's all a metaphor. You know, the Little Mermaid, she's not Disney. It's Hans Christian Andersen, it's bloodthirsty. She's a princess, she has beautiful time under the sea. She comes up because she's in love with a man, he marries another girl, she throws her heart into a knife, she dies and she becomes sea foam. That's love, fuck Disney. So as an adult, I learned to sort of bury my fantasies about sinking down into love. And I even try and take swimming lessons, though I'm really not good at it. And the YMCA guy says, you really gotta find like your sinking threshold. That's that point where you can force yourself down, stay down, and come up only when you want to. And I say, fuck that, I'm gonna start swimming, but I'm no good at it, so I swim like one of those old women who's trying to keep her beehive from getting wet. And then one night, I meet Soap Opera Boy. He's a soap opera actor, obviously, and the first thing, of course, I notice about him is that he's pretty. And I'm not talking some bullshit, skinny, metrosexual hipster pretty, I'm talking Hollywood pretty. I'm talking Ryan Gosling pretty. Only this one's got a Texas accent. And his drawl makes me think of all those cattle drives in John Ford movies, and he says things like, you write plays, you perform your own work. God, no, you have a process. Fuck, man, I'm an actor. I don't even have that. I'm an ma'am. Would you like to have dinner with me sometime? And the old lady who's trying to keep her beehive from getting wet is like, no, must swim, no sinking. But I find myself scribbling down his number and hoping that he doesn't notice, because I sure have noticed like those first little bubbles are starting to come to the surface. Now the next day on my lunch hour, I'm at the gym, I'm working the ellipticals, and he appears all of a sudden on 5 of the 20 screens that are hanging across the cardio room, because it's all my children time. So I take the earplugs out of my jack and the iPod, I stick it in the ellipticals, and I get him just in time for him to say to his bikini-clad co-star, it's hot as hell in here. I need to take a dip. And he rips open his shirt. I mean, buttons flying, the whole thing, throws his jeans, and he jumps into some pool that's off camera. And then there's a commercial. And then he's back. And he's pretty much naked. I mean, he's daytime naked, but that's naked. I mean, it's naked enough. And I don't want to look. I mean, I do want to look. I really want to look, but I don't want to look because I don't want to sink. I want to swim. And as I pull out my earplugs from the elliptical machine, I can see that my iPod is still playing, but ever so slightly. And it's Tom Waits, and he's singing that song, you know, I want to tell you how much I love you, and I'm drowning in the sea of love. And I'm like, oh, come on! So soap opera boy gets a name because he's cool. His name is Adam, and he shows up every time. You know, he's got like this full heart. He stops to talk. He does. He stops to talk to homeless people on the street, and he gives them money. He's so much nicer than I am. And after a couple of months, we're together, and I am sunk. And then he says, "I am moving to Los Angeles." And I say, "Well, I am not moving to Los Angeles." And as we say goodbye, we plan this weekend away because we're caught in a blizzard outside of Staunton, Virginia on this trip. I realize I'm in love. And I realize this while he's going down on me, giving me head. No, it's not because of that. It's just during that I realize it. Unfortunately, it's the middle of winter and I'm also prone to nosebleeds. So I have a really hard sneeze and he raises his head from down there, and he looks really concerned, and I say, "Don't worry."
No, don't worry. I can have an orgasm and multitask at the same time. It's okay, just keep going.
But I try to swallow all of that blood, but I can't. And it's an hour later, Adam carries me very like movie star style into the emergency room in Staunton, Virginia, and yells, "Can we get some help here?" So the intake nurse has those rhinestone studs in her Lee press-ons, and when she sees him, she freezes. "Have we met before?"
No, I don't think so.
"I wasn't talking about you, hun. Aren't you Stuart Chandler from All My Children? You are my favorite All My Children person. I have seen you doing scenes with Susan Lucci. I love you." And I say, "Excuse me," and she's like, "Judy, take her to the back." And the thing is that when I'm in the back and the doctor stuffs that $150 worth of nose spray up my nose to stop it. Sing.